Hello YouTube family, thanks for joining me on my videos. If you like the videos, please give me a like. If you've not subscribed, please consider subscribing to the channel to help the channel grow. Thanks for watching the videos. Sincerely, thanks for watching. Hello YouTube family, thanks for joining me on this video, and let's jump into today's topic, which you can tell by the photo to my left is the completely useless representative from Colorado, Lauren Boebert. And Lauren Boebert has been attacked recently by a group called the American Muckrakers PAC. I don't know if you're familiar with this group or not, but it's the group that launched an attack on Madison Cawthorn, released some salacious videos about Cawthorn, and ultimately helped lead to Madison Cawthorn losing his Republican primary just this month or last month, and now they've turned their ire to Lauren Boebert. As the group says, they're trying to get useless politicians out of Washington, and they've launched a website that is fireboebert.com. The group has released multiple things they claim to be about her, and the thing is, these claims that have been released, they are alleged by this group, the American Muckrakers PAC, which is a political action committee, and they've not been independently verified, as far as I know, as of yet. But they have multiple press releases they put out. Their website is full of all this information, and the American Muckrakers PAC volunteers, they claim, have uncovered that Lauren Boebert was an unlicensed paid escort and met clients through a website called sugardaddymeet.com. Text messages show she was bankrupt at the time and looking for side income, and called her work through the website pay to play, and she was paid to escort wealthy men. According to their investigation, Boebert was hired by a wealthy male client in Aspen, Colorado, who was a Koch family member. When they say Koch family member, what they're talking about is the Koch brothers, that family. You have David and Charles Koch. One of them has passed away now, but they are extremely wealthy, multi-billionaire wealthy men. They have a number of businesses, but they've made a lot of wealth. Their family made a lot of wealth from the fossil fuel industry. And Boebert's rich client subsequently introduced her to U.S. Senator Ted Cruz while in Aspen. After meeting with Senator Ted Cruz, Boebert was encouraged by Cruz to run for political office. When Boebert announced her campaign for Congress in December 2019, Senator Cruz donated at least $136,250 to the Boebert campaign and helped raise her large sums of money during trips Boebert made to Texas, which is an odd thing for somebody running for the House of Representatives from a district in Colorado to make trips to Texas. Boebert didn't disclose a $70,500 donation made by Cruz's Federal Election Commission filings, which contradicted her filings. So that is, Ted Cruz donated the $70,500 to Boebert's campaign. His campaign filed the proper paperwork with the Federal Elections Commission, the FEC. Boebert did not, for whatever reason. They allege that Boebert had an abortion at a clinic in Grand Junction, Colorado, sometime in 2004 or 2005, when she was approximately 18 years old. It is not known whether this abortion was related to sugardaddymeet.com clients or someone else. Then Boebert, 23 at the time, had an abortion in 2009 at the Planned Parenthood clinic in Glenwood Springs, Colorado, due to her work with a sugardaddymeet.com client. That is saying that she, as a paid escort, got pregnant by one of her clients and then had the abortion in Glenwood Springs, Colorado at a Planned Parenthood clinic. The American Muckrakers PAC claims to have obtained this information through an exhaustive investigation and a tip from a verified source close to this matter, who has requested anonymity for fears of reprisal. And that's just part of what they've put out about Boebert. The president of the American Muckrakers PAC, David Wheeler, said the following: Lauren Opal Boebert is a big fan of a hypocrite, is as big of a hypocrite as Madison Cawthorn. He says one thing and does another. She says she's against abortion, but has apparently had at least 2 of them. She claims to be a devout Christian, but is paid to escort wealthy men without a license, and has 2 abortions she wants to make illegal for other women. So they're pointing out the hypocrisy, which is what they're attacking with Lauren Boebert, is the hypocrisy of her having 2 abortions and being very staunchly anti-abortion at a time when Roe versus Wade is about to get overturned and women's access to abortion is about to be taken away. They say that our coalition of Republicans, Democrats, and unaffiliated voters are pleading with all voters in Colorado's 3rd District to take a good long look at Lauren Boebert and what she does, not what she says. And here they list: Boebert had 2 abortions, but says that other women shouldn't be able to make this decision. Boebert was driving an ATV in Moab and had a serious wreck with her son in the back, and her sister-in-law is so seriously injured that she has to be flown to the hospital via life flight. Boebert doesn't report the accident as required by Utah law, and then actively works to cover up the accident 2 weeks before the primary election, including paying her sister-in-law off to keep quiet. Boebert uses donor money to pay her taxes and restaurant rent. Boebert still owes her employees back pay and threatens them if they protest. Jason Boebert has a consulting contract for an oil and gas company for $460,000 a year, but has 0 consulting experience. And they just go on to say they hope Coloradans will agree with what they are doing, that she is not right for Colorado, and will fire her. Regarding the SugarDaddyMeat.com, Lauren Boebert apparently at some point in the past tried to become either an actress or a model. She took photographs like this one that are purportedly online of Lauren Boebert. She was a member of a website, a talent search website for actresses and models. Lauren Boebert is a high school dropout who gained traction in the Trump area of Republican politics by touting right-wing conspiracy theories. And she's had numerous photos online that have been posted because she's an odd politician. I mean, she didn't go into Washington to do the job of legislation. She's proposed no legislation. She has no legislative agenda. She's gone to Washington, and she's very active on social media. She goes and does whatever news shows she can do anytime she can make a public appearance and speak publicly. She parrots the right-wing talking points, says all the things the right-wing voters want to hear in an effort to become more popular. I mean, it seems like she didn't make it as a model or actress, so she's trying to use this opportunity in politics to make the money, get the fame of what she was seeking through another way at a different point in her life. And the whole thing with the unlicensed allegation with the escort thing is that in Colorado, to be an escort, you have to be licensed. And as they say, she was unlicensed. That's saying that she illegally operated as a paid escort. And they also make it clear that they are in no way trying to vilify the sex work, the being an escort. There are plenty of women that do it. There are plenty of women that feel they need to do it to make money. That some women will do it to make ends meet, and they understand that. They're not vilifying the occupation. What they're trying to point out is the hypocrisy in right-wing politics with people like Lauren Boebert, who is staunchly anti-abortion, and they claim she's had 2 abortions. Lauren Boebert's trying to prevent other women from being able to access abortions after she used the abortion process to help herself out. She will lie, cheat, and steal to make money. And as it said, she had a supposedly Cope family member from Aspen, Colorado, that she was working for as her job as a paid escort, where she met Ted Cruz. She apparently made trips to Texas after meeting Ted Cruz, and she started running for office. And Ted Cruz was helping, not only giving her money, but helping her raise other money. And their claim is very specific about the abortion at the Planned Parenthood in Glenwood Springs, Colorado. I don't know what they have. I don't believe anybody knows what they have. They're making these claims online. And Lauren Boebert had amended her financial disclosures, House of Representative financial disclosures, to include income from her husband, Jason Boebert. In the amended disclosure, she indicated that her husband had received $460,601 in 2019 and $478,386 in 2020. This is supposedly from an oil and gas company in Colorado called Terra Energy Partners, LLC, and her husband is said to be getting this money from consulting work, despite the fact that he has no history of working as a consultant. He has worked in the oil and gas industry before, and he may have worked for Terra Energy Partners. The Muckrakers PAC talked to people at the oil and gas company asking about this supposed income, and they said that Jason Boebert does not work for them and hasn't for a long time. So they're asking the simple question that a lot of people would ask, which is, why is he getting this money if he's not actually working as a consultant? This is Lauren Boebert and her husband Jason. Both of them have very sordid histories. Like I said, Lauren Boebert was a high school dropout. Apparently she failed to get her GED after dropping out of high school. Her husband, meanwhile, has had trouble of his own, which is he in October 2020 the claim was made, and Jason Boebert, who had arrest for exposing his penis to young women, including a 16-year-old girl at a bowling alley in Rifle, Colorado. That was a claim that was made against him. And as it was stated, this group of girls were together. They were young girls. One of them in the group was a 16-year-old high school girl. And Jason Boebert had walked up, approached them and talked to them. And they had turned their backs to him to ignore him. And after which he walked around and exposed himself to them. And they complained to the bowling alley manager, who told Jason Boebert to leave. He refused to leave, and the police were called, and that's why there was the report on Jason Boebert, her husband. One of the crazy things with that story is that Lauren Boebert was apparently there at the bowling alley when it all happened. And she still decided to marry Jason Boebert. And later on, he was again in trouble with the police. The second time was for abusing Lauren Boebert physically for domestic violence against his partner. I don't believe they were married at the time of the domestic violence. I'm not sure about that, but I believe they were like dating. And the police got called for him physically abusing her. There's just nothing good coming from the Boeberts. I mean, it's all a mess with them. And you have the New York Times ran a story because of what the Muckrakers PAC is doing. And as it goes, it says that Colorado is to examine Lauren Boebert's mileage claims and tax liens. And that is, when Lauren Boebert was running for Congress, she filed some crazy amount of mileage. I mean, she represents a district in Colorado. She's not a senator. She doesn't represent the entire state. She represents a single district within the state of Colorado, and she filed for something like 37 or 38,000 miles that she traveled running for office, and got reimbursement of around 21,000 some odd dollars. It just happens at the time her restaurant had a tax lien against it for $22,000, and after she got reimbursed for that egregious amount of mileage, she suddenly paid off the tax lien against her business from the state of Colorado, which is more suspicious activity. And she's trouble everywhere, in every way. But as is her husband. You have the note that was put up on the website by the Muckrakers PAC, which they are explaining why they're doing what they do. They are going after politicians that they think shouldn't be in office, or trying to get them from getting reelected. And as I said, their first attack was on Madison Cawthorn, who has already lost his primary race. But in their note, they say, "We make no judgment about Boebert's abortions. That is her right as a woman in Colorado. However, we're reporting on the unbelievable hypocrisy of her railing against women that want that same right. Boebert has consistently been against women in Colorado and the entire country having the same rights to make their own health care decisions. In addition, we don't take a position about the propriety of somebody being a paid escort, and respect any men or women that choose this career. However, escorts are regulated in Colorado and must register under state law. We have searched and requested to see her registration without success. If Boebert has an escort registration, we will correct our story and apologize to Boebert. However, we aren't holding our breath. Finally, no one at Planned Parenthood or any other medical practice anywhere provided Boebert's medical records or violated HIPAA rules. We did not consult with or receive any tips from any medical providers, staff, admins, technicians, etc., nor did we hack or receive any medical records or obtain any information in such a way that would violate any Colorado or U.S. laws. We have never seen any of Boebert's medical records." And so, as they are saying, they are making these claims off of what they call a trusted source. And you can believe or not believe what you want to with as far as all that goes. And as far as the whole wanting to be a model thing, the website that Lauren Boebert was on, people have gone on and found that other right-wing people have been on that site also trying to get work as actresses or models. And it's humorous because of people trying to do this same thing. I mean, you have Candace Owens, who is laughably one of the most ignorant and laughable political commentators out there. She does not miss a chance to push conspiracy theory or to help right-wingers feel good about being racist and bigoted. And Candace Owens was on there. Melissa Caroni was on there. And there's a slew of others. People have been tweeting pictures of these right-wing commentators or politicians, political activists on the right that they found on the website. And it's just insane that they're doing this. To me, I mean, I've never considered myself talented enough to act or good looking enough to be a model, so I don't know. I don't have that level of self-confidence, I guess, that somehow I'm going to get work that way. Apparently they did. They had some amount of confidence that they would be able to do that. Forget the name of the website, talent something, but it's humorous to me that people have that confidence, and I mean, good for them that they do. I don't, but in response to the work that Muckrakers PAC is doing right now to try and prevent Lauren Boebert from getting reelected, is She put out a tweet that said, "Fact check, not true, fake news, 4 Pinocchios, also y'all need Jesus," because I'm sure it works well for her to invoke Jesus, being a right-wing politician nowadays. In response, also, Lauren Boebert, according to Fox News, Lauren Boebert will take legal action. This just came out today, the response, the supposed legal response of Lauren Boebert. Lauren Boebert will take legal action against the Democrat Political Action Committee, PAC, that claimed without evidence that she was an unlicensed paid escort. Boebert's lawyer, whose name is Jonathan Anderson, wrote, "The PAC published a series of false and defamatory statements." He also said, "Muckrakers has marketed itself as a watchdog group. The truth is that Muckrakers is a political committee which exclusively opposes conservative candidates, is funded by established Democrat donor sources, and is managed by Democrat political operatives. We have irrefutable evidence that each of these statements is patently false. You know this, though. Muckrakers publish these outlandish statements knowing they are fabricated, but you likely operated under the inaccurate assumption that publishing false statements against a public figure would not create legal liability. This will be a costly miscalculation for Muckrakers, Wheeler, and Muckrakers donors." The attorney claims to have internal Muckrakers texts and email communications that demonstrates that Muckrakers did in fact publish statements, knowing those statements to be false. And that was the response from Boebert. So she has a lawyer that sent a letter to Muckrakers claiming they would seek litigation for defamation against them. And it's hard to prove. I mean, we just witnessed over the last month, 2 months, however long the Johnny Depp Amber Heard thing went, that was a defamation trial, a defamation lawsuit, that whole ordeal. And in the United States, it's very difficult to prove defamation because you not only have to prove damage, you have to prove the intent. You have to prove malice, that the person said this thing with the intent to cause the harm they caused, which is the difficult thing to prove because people can speak off the cuff and can hurt somebody without any intent of hurting somebody. But that being said, the Muckrakers group did put out their own response to this claim of legal action. Their response was, "No second term for Boebert. If it's fake news, then sue us. We would love to depose you about these matters, and Ted, and Mr. Koch. Bring it, you fake Congress thing." So the Muckrakers PAC is being faced with possible litigation, and they are in the face of that saying, "We're not really afraid of litigation. If you believe what we're saying is false, then by all means bring us to court, because we will be able to depose you, depose Senator Ted Cruz, and depose a member of a very wealthy multi-billionaire family that is a very large Republican donor, because the Koch family has donated insane amounts of money. At this point, collectively, I'm assuming billions of dollars over the years to Republican politics. This could be the Muckrakers believing that they're calling Lauren Boebert's bluff, that she's hired a lawyer, the lawyer's making these threats, and it could be that the Muckrakers PAC does not believe that Lauren Boebert is going to file anything. I'm assuming they believe she is not in any way, shape, or form going to try and take them to court, because, like I said, there's depositions, there's disclosure. I mean, there's a lot of information that would come out if they had to go to court. And some of that information is going to come from Ted Cruz. Some of that information is going to come from supposedly a member of the very wealthy Koch family. This is a screenshot of the website, the fireboebert.com website. And it's, to me, hilarious. I mean, I have no problem with people going after politicians, honestly, as long as what they are saying is true. I mean, if Muckrakers is putting out false information, I have no problem with Lauren Boebert going to court and exposing them whatsoever. I mean, it should not be that you can just put out fake information and ruin somebody's career that way. If what they're saying is not true, then by all means go to court. I'm in agreement with the Muckrakers folks there. If you think it's fake news, then take them to court. Go through discovery, go through deposition, and let's see what shakes out. Because court is ugly. Defamation lawsuits are very ugly. Just ask Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. A lot of crap had to be exposed from their personal lives, and I'm sure was embarrassing and humiliating, and they went through it in their whole thing. This is a screenshot of the sugardaddymeat.com website. Apparently that does exist. I typed it into the search bar and it went there, or into the address bar and it went there. So that website does exist. That doesn't prove that Lauren Boebert was on there. This is photos that the Muckrakers group claims Lauren Boebert had on her sugardaddymeat.com profile. And as I said before, she had apparently tried to be a model or actress. She went through the talent website, which supposedly, I mean, there are a ton of people on there. I went to that website too, and there's an insanely large amount of men and women on that website trying to get work as models or actresses. But the thing is, the title of the website is talent, and I don't see any talent in Lauren Boebert. I mean, right now she's acting the part of a politician, and she's doing a horrible job of it. That's what's come out about Lauren Boebert. You have the claims made by the Muckrakers, and you have now the response from Boebert. She claimed it was fake news, which is the typical Republican response nowadays to everything. Donald Trump brought the fake news terminology in so that nowadays everybody just goes with the calling anything they don't like fake news. And just because it's called fake news does not mean that it's not fake news. It does not mean that the stuff is not true. So I've laid it out there. That's what the Muckrakers PAC claims. Lauren Boebert denies the claims. She has hired the services of an attorney, which honestly I do not believe in any way, shape, or form that she is going to go through with legal action. I do not believe she wants Ted Cruz getting called into court for deposition. I don't believe she wants a member of the Koch family being called in if she really was a client of this guy. I mean, either way, he's going to be called in to be deposed because he was brought up in the whole thing. If it's not true, then by all means go to court, prove it, and be exonerated and destroy this Muckrakers group. Also with this, I want to tell you who the Muckrakers people are. You have the co-founder and president of the American Muckrakers PAC. His name is David Wheeler. He spent allegedly 30 plus years as a veteran of the executive leadership in event management in the event management industry. He was the CEO of International Higher Education Group LLC, and the other co-founder and chairman of the PAC advisory board is Colonel Mo Davis. He is a retired U.S. Air Force officer. He has been the director of Air Force Judiciary and served as chief prosecutor of Guantanamo Military. And the other co-founder is David Reed. Reed is a best-selling New York author, a journalist, and a former Republican candidate for a Massachusetts House seat. So one of their founders is a Republican, so their claim that they are made up of Democrats, Republicans, and independents could very well be true. It sounds like the founder, David Wheeler, it sounds like he's been a long time, possibly a lifelong Democrat. As far as Colonel Mo Davis, I've not been able to find anything of about his political persuasion, voting persuasion. They apparently do have some Democrats, some Republicans, and I'm guessing some independents in their group. You have the question about where did the money her husband received come from. I mean, over a 2-year period, 2019 and 2020, he received nearly $1 million, supposedly doing consulting work for a company that says he does not work for them, and with him having no consulting history. Which, I mean, if you look at what's going on with her husband, this massive amount of money he's making, there is really no difference between what he's apparently doing and what Joe Biden's son did. Hunter Biden, everybody, all the Republicans are constantly bringing up Hunter Biden, which makes no sense to me because he's not in politics. He's not making any decisions for the government. Neither is Lauren Boebert's husband, so normally a lot of us would not know about all this crazy money he's making. And supposedly at the same time he's making all this money, the restaurant she and her husband owned, the Shooter's Bar and Grill in Colorado, lost around $250,000. The Muckrakers PAC is asking the question, if he doesn't work as a consultant for that oil and gas company, where's all this money coming from? Because the Boeberts are claiming their business is losing money to the tune of nearly $250,000. Meanwhile, her husband's raking in nearly $1 million over the course of 2 years working for a company that claims he does not work for them. And also one of the claims, I don't know if I brought it up, was the wreck of the four-wheeler. She had the four-wheeler wreck. I believe I brought it up. Her sister had to be airlifted from the accident, but her son and dog were also in the accident. Muckrakers claims that Lauren Boebert had jumped out of the four-wheeler they were riding in Moab, Utah, while her son, dog, and sister were in the vehicle and it wrecked. And the claim is that she was under the influence of alcohol at the time, which would have been illegal in Utah, to be operating a motor vehicle while intoxicated. That's the claim. And she has numerous DUIs on her record. So that is believable. Whether it happened or not, I don't know that we'll necessarily ever know, because I don't believe she will take legal action. The tax lien on her business was for unpaid unemployment insurance. There's also the claim that she owes her employees money, back pay, and she's threatened them to prevent them from protesting about the fact that they've gone unpaid before, which is absolutely asinine. Assault charge on Jason Boebert, her husband, was from Garfield County. The county clerk said that Jason Boebert did strike, shove, or kick and subject her, that's Lauren Boebert, to physical contact. And that was the domestic violence police response, which got her husband, I believe, around a week in jail. In 2017, the restaurant she and her husband owned got about 80 people sick at a rodeo with food poisoning. This was reported by the Post-Independent. Lauren Boebert has denied that that's true as well, although there's apparently records showing that is true. How much of this is true? Some of it's true, some of it we know. The domestic violence stuff with her husband, that's old news. That's being rehashed. The thing with the bowling alley, her husband exposing himself to young girls and a high school girl at the bowling alley, that's old news. That's being rehashed, along with all this other stuff. The allegation that Boebert was a unregistered, unlicensed, paid escort in the state of Colorado for wealthy men, that she was a client of a very wealthy Koch family member who introduced her to Ted Cruz in Aspen, Colorado, and that she had 2 abortions. She's denying that to be true. She's threatened legal action. And I'm with a lot of other people. I say, if it is untrue, pursue the legal action. Bring it out in court. I don't believe she will, because I don't believe she wants Ted Cruz or a Koch family member being drugged into court. And I believe she is bluffing on that part. So as far as the Muckrakers PAC calling her bluff with their very bold response to say, if what we're saying is fake news, then sue us. Take us to court. Because we have the information to present. If you have counter information to present, then bring it. Let's all go to court, present our information, and see how it shakes out. They seem rather confident in their information. The question is whether the voters of Colorado will look at what they're doing and say, we don't want this person representing us. Because apparently the voters of North Carolina did that in Cawthorn's district. They looked at what the Muckrakers PAC was putting out about him and said, we don't really want him representing us. But because you have this stuff now, plus you have the fact that he's done nothing in the 2 years he's been in. Lauren Boebert, as far as doing anything for the voters in her district, she's done nothing in Congress. She's attempted to do nothing for the voters in her district in Colorado. That by itself should be enough for them to want her out of office. And I don't know how heavily politically right-leaning that district is in Colorado. I wouldn't hold my breath on these atrocious people from the right who have been getting into office, having no agenda, no legislative agenda in any way to help out their district, to help out people in the country, and they're just trying to get more popular among the right wing. That's what so many people are doing. Cawthorn, Boebert, you've got Marjorie Taylor Greene, Matt Gaetz. There's just this slew of garbage coming in on the right. They have no agenda. They have no reason to be in Congress, and they're there. Lauren Boebert is a high school dropout, failed to get her GED, who married a guy that exposed himself to young girls at a bowling alley. She was there apparently when it happened, chose to marry the guy. She's made a history of bad decisions. She and her husband do not seem in any way to be honorable people, and I'm guessing they're out to make as quick a buck as they can make, as many bucks as they can make as quickly as they can before this ride is over, because she's not becoming an actress or if she was to get voted out of Congress, she might get some work showing up on Fox News, Newsmax, OAN, something like that. But that's about it. I don't know how successful their business is doing in Colorado. It sounds like it's losing money. It sounds like they can't afford to pay their employees. And rather than paying their employees, they're paying themselves, which is not legal. And their employees, if that's the truth, need to absolutely file with the labor board in Colorado and have them come down on that business. Because if the Boeberts are not paying their employees, the employees need to fight back. And we need to know if this stuff is true. Because if it is, she is an absolutely disgusting person, let alone politician. But thanks for watching. If you liked the video, please give me a like. Subscribe if you've not subscribed. And leave me a message. Comment. Let me know how I'm doing. But have a good day.